Hey guys, so I wanted to try something a little different on my channel. I've attempted it in the past. I haven't been consistent, so it never stuck. I'm hoping to be consistent this time and put these videos out once a week, and that's a Q&A video every week, hopefully Thursdays if I can keep to it, because I really think that that would be so useful rather than responding to every single comment, which I can't do, because I have so much going on in my life. Also, it's hard to keep up, but just because then you would have a condensed format to search through comments. I'm going to try to keep it as structured as possible so it's easy to search these in the description. I'll put timestamps down there so you can look out for these videos every week and see if maybe I have answered one of your questions, because a lot of the questions that I get are very similar. I get a lot of frequently asked questions, so I'm hoping that this will help with that. As I make more of these videos, I'm hoping to get a little bit more organized and structured so they're a little more user-friendly. But right now I'm just kind of winging it. I selected some questions that I got recently on social media, and I'm gonna highlight these. I can't get to every single question, and some of them I don't have the answer to. Like I said, I'm going to try to do this every week, so if you have any questions for me, leave it in the comments section below, and then I will go through them for next week's video. And here's the first question. Did you provide a pic of how you wanted your teeth to look like, or did your dentist provide examples of shapes they offer and you went from there? I was told that when the time came, we would take everything into account to make my teeth how I want them, but I am obsessed with yours and want to show them a picture of yours and tell them that's what I want. I got my implants placed early this year, and I have temp dentures while my implants integrate, but will be getting my perms in January/February. Okay, so you know what? Honestly, there have been several people that have taken pictures of my teeth and taken them to their dentist and gotten something very similar. As a matter of fact, one of them was on Instagram, and I was just absolutely blown away. I had to share it with my sister and show her the results. It was amazing. She used the same mold that I got. And the thing is, it's gonna look different on everybody. Like, you could take these exact same teeth, put them in someone else's mouth, gonna look totally different, but hers ended up being gorgeous. What I would recommend is, if you like the way that these teeth look, then note what it is that you like about them. For one of the things I requested was I wanted my lateral incisors to be a little bit higher than my central incisors. That way, I don't have that straight across blocky look like I previously had before with the contest hybrids that I had. If you guys remember, I disliked that blocky look so much that I took a nail file and I filed them down myself. So with this go, I asked them to do that, and they were able to get that done. Also, I wanted, slightly more prominent central incisors. I didn't want my teeth to be perfectly straight, so you can look at them and see they look more like a natural straight smile instead of like laid out like piano keys. And I'm totally cool with any of you guys taking my videos or screenshots of my photos or whatever you want and tell your dentist, hey, this is what I have. But I'm going to be doing a series soon that goes through all of the basic information that you need to know about Ivoclar's teeth. It's going to be about a 6-7 part series, and I'm going to show you all the molds that they have and the shades that they have and different things that they use to create a natural looking smile that is unique to you. So you guys make sure you subscribe to my channel and be on the lookout for that one. The next question that I got, and I love this question: if you couldn't afford implants, I couldn't, I won them in a contest, is there a more natural looking denture that isn't so expensive? Absolutely. This is something that I try to communicate on my channel all the time. If you look at these teeth and you like the way that they look, they can go in a removable denture. They can go in an overdenture. They can go in partials. Implants serve as a functional aspect of this. It's not aesthetic. Like, there's nothing attractive about metal rods in your mouth. That's just for function. As far as aesthetic goes, this is all acrylic, and that's what dentures are. So if you go back through my channel and look at my interview that I did with Amy, Amy was a longtime subscriber of mine. She was unhappy with her smile. She ended up getting in contact with Ivoclar. They did a smile makeover for her using removable dentures and the Fenara's teeth like I have, And then I flew out to Buffalo and I met her and we did a sit down interview, and like her teeth are gorgeous. See, that's what I used to think. I used to think if I want a beautiful smile, I'm gonna have to have like $50,000, $60,000 for implants. Absolutely not. You can get a nice looking smile using removable teeth. Next question. I go in Wednesday for my surgery. Congratulations on that. I'm so excited and terrified at the same time. How long does it take to get where I will be able to talk normal? I haven't been able to eat real food in months, so that part I'm okay with. It's the talking that has me nervous. It all depends. Like some people, it's something that they really struggle with, but I think for the most part, anytime everything rearranges in your mouth, that's going to be a consequence of that, is that your speech is going to be slightly affected. But one of the things that I did, now I think that it was the first 2 weeks that it was really rough because things were swollen and everything, which made speaking more difficult. But I did practice a lot. I talked out loud so that I could recognize what it was I was having difficulty pronouncing, and then I would practice that over and over. Like if you look at my very first video on this channel, I mentioned that it was difficult for me to like say things like keep, the way that my tongue hit the back of my mouth. It was just a challenge for me. And so if I'm sitting at my computer and I'm reading something, I'm reading it out loud. Also, talking very slowly and deliberately. Like don't just instantly start spilling words out of your mouth and thinking they're going to come out the way that they sound in your head and the way that they always do, because they're probably not. So you have to slow down and think about what you're saying and pay attention to how your mouth is moving, and you're going to learn what your weaknesses are when you're able to do that. You're less likely to stumble over your words, and then you can get some practice in on pronouncing things the way that you typically pronounce them. Also, last thing I want to mention with that is try as much as possible to practice speaking and practice eating and practice doing everything with your dentures without adhesive, because for me, it really helped build that muscle memory when I wasn't relying on something else to keep my dentures in place. I was relying on my own facial muscles to keep them in place. And that also contributed to my ability to speak proficiently. The next question that I got, and this is one that I get so much: how do I find a dentist who uses Ivoclar? Okay, so there's a little confusion on that, and I'm gonna reach back out to Ivoclar and get clarification. But from what I understand, there is a tool on their website where you can search up dentist or prosthodontist using your zip code. I think, however, that might just be the American Prosthodontics Association. Prosthodontists Association, is that how you say it? Because I typed my zip code in and I found my current dentist, Dr. Ryan, here at in Jacksonville at Parkway Prosthodontics. So she's on there and she is familiar with Ivoclar, but I'm not sure if every single person that's listed on that feature is somebody that definitely is familiar with Ivoclar products and uses them. First of all, like when I say familiar with Ivoclar, I mean like Ivoclar is not a boutique manufacturing company. They are a big global manufacturing company that's known worldwide. They've got subsidiaries and offices like all over the globe, and a lot of people are familiar with their products. And I'm going to get more into that in my series that's coming up. But you know, you could also, on the morethan-a-denture.com website through Ivoclar, they have a PDF that you can print out, and you can take that brochure to your dentist, and it's as simple as them just requesting those teeth. It's not anything fancy or special or exclusive or anything like that. It's just that usually dentists will stick to the type of teeth that they have always used because they're familiar with it. But it's as simple as them just ordering the teeth and using them instead. So that's another way. And then the last way, until I reach out to Ivoclar and get clarification, is that you could just call the prosthodontists in your area, because prosthodontists, their specialty is, you know, tooth loss and dealing with prosthetic teeth and stuff like that. So you're more likely to get people who are familiar with Ivoclar when you call an actual prosthodontist. So call them, call around and find out what labs they use, and then you can contact the lab and see if it's possible that they use Ivoclar products. But I'm going to do a little bit more digging so I have a better answer for you, and hopefully I'll have that up in the next video. Okay, so the next question that I got is another one that I get frequently. Who and where is the dentist that did yours located? I get that question a lot, and that's why I made the video that's pinned to the top of my channel. If you go to my channel and look at that very first video, that's always going to stay at the top until I redo it and make an updated version of basically the same information. It's my whole dental history. And so the people who did what I currently have, they work at an educational facility. They're not somebody that works with the general public and does dentures. They lecture dentists and prosthodontists and lab technicians on technique and things like that. And so they used my case as a case study to educate other professionals. So you can't go to them. However, the two that I would definitely recommend is Dr. Martin in Gainesville. He works at UF. He is a educator, a lecturer. He's very well known in that community. He's a prosthodontist, and he did all of the preliminary work, the installation of my hybrids. He was the one that was communicating back and forth with the lab technicians, and so he oversaw all of that, and I really highly recommend him. He's a great guy, great personality, really easy to work with, and he listens. So that's a recommendation. Also, Dr. Ryan here that I've been seeing in Jacksonville at Parkway Prosthodontics. I've only been to her a few times, but I'm still so impressed with the way that she runs her office that I would recommend them to anybody. Like they're very friendly, very welcoming. It's a clean, comfortable environment, and they're familiar with Ivoclar too. And she happens to know Dr. Martin, so that made me like feel even more comfortable with my decision to start seeking care from her. So those are two of them. So you can go to them, but as far as who did my work, they're just educators. They're not, working with people that don't have a practice. Okay, so the next question that I got is, did you have to take antibiotics for the implants? Unfortunately, I can't take them as they lead to an intestinal infection, so I'm only allowed to take them if it's literally life or death. I did take antibiotics, and I'm not sure if it is absolutely necessary, because it's more of a preventative thing that from what I've been told, from what I'm aware of, it's a preventative measure that they take to make sure that there's no infection. They don't want to go in there and start, digging around when there's an active infection going on. So they just like automatically treat you with antibiotics. And we all know that antibiotics are very much overused in the US. So maybe just talk to your dentist and see if you could substitute the antibiotics for like a really strong mouthwash like Paradex. I mean, again, I'm not a professional, so I don't know if that's like absolutely the standard 100% necessary, but from my own logic and reasoning, I don't think that you would have to. The point of it is that they just need to make sure that there is no infection going on. So check with your dentist and see if there's another alternative to that. How can you keep it clean enough around and under your bridges to avoid a bad smell? I brush and use my water pick after every single thing I eat, and I never notice that I have bad breath. Same girl. But each time I've gone in for an appointment and they've removed my temporary bridges, the smell is terrible. What can I do to prevent this from happening? Same. So I had that same situation happen to me, and I was embarrassed because I thought that there was something wrong. It was very noticeable once those hybrids came off. The smell just hit me in the face, and I'm like, oh my God, like, it's bad when you smell your own breath. What are they smelling right now? And I've never been told that I'm doing a bad job at taking care of them and keeping them clean. So what's the deal with that? You can't. With a water pick, with floss, with a toothbrush, with mouthwash, you can't get down into certain spots of these hybrids. Those access holes and the casing around them and the implants and the abutments and all those little pieces that come together to make this work there are certain parts of those that are inaccessible to you, but totally accessible to bacteria. And we all know that bacteria is the main reason, like that is what a smell is. Like when you smell something funky in your armpits, it's bacteria. That's what's going on in there. And it's just from what I'm told, because I asked about it, because it does have a strong garbage smell. It seems gross, but apparently, it's normal. From what my dentist told me, from what Dr. Martin told me, this is just something that happens and they're used to it, and it is what it is. So I wouldn't be too concerned unless the dentist is like, hold up, like what's going on. But I think that they're familiar with it because there's so many different parts to this that bacteria can penetrate and get down into. As long as you're told that you're doing a really good job of cleaning your hybrids and that the buildup is under control, there's not really any plaque or anything like that building up on them, your gums are healthy and they're not red and inflamed, then you should be good to go, and it bothers you more than it bothers anybody else. So normal. Okay, so I think I have time for one more question. I don't want this video to be too long, and I'll continue to do these. I'll get to more questions next week. If I didn't get to your question this week in this video, then just leave it in the comment section below. Trust me, like eventually I'm gonna get to all of the questions that I get asked and do the best of my ability to get the answers for you if I don't have them. So last question, something that I get a lot is, your advice, would you go to Mexico and get 4-on-4 dental implants, it's all on 4, for $20,000, or go to Dallas and pay $31,000? I live in Arkansas. So this is tough. I get a lot of messages from people who have gone the dental tourism route and have had a phenomenal experience, and they highly recommend it to anybody who is seeking a more affordable option for getting this type of expensive setup, because it's usually like, average $50,000-$60,000 to get this done. So I get it. Like, I don't have that money either. But when it comes down to it, my thoughts, and it's just my opinion, if I had $31,000, I'm going locally. I'm gonna do my best to keep it as close to where I live as possible. And there's several reasons, and a lot of it is based on, communicating with professionals. I've brought this up to them because it is something that I hear a lot about, and like I've always been on the fence, because on one hand I'm like, you got to do what you got to do. If this is what you want and that's what you can afford, to go to Mexico or go somewhere across the ocean to get this done, then I can't say that at that point in my life I wouldn't have done that either. But now, knowing what I know, it's like, for one, whenever something goes wrong, you're going to want somebody that's familiar with you and what kind of work you've had done. And sometimes, in different countries, they're not using the same products that they're using over here. They're not using the same measurements. They're like, it's completely different. Like, I know that with what I have, there is a very specific set of tools that the dentist has to order to work with this type of arrangement. If they don't have it, they can't remove them. You know what I mean? So if something was to break, I want to know that I'm not going to have to replace the entire thing. They can easily order what I have and replace it, and they're familiar with it. And it would just make me so much more comfortable, because let's say you go to Mexico and you spend $20,000 and then something happens and you're unable to get it corrected, and now you're out $20,000, and then you have to get it done locally anyways. So that's my reasoning. But if any of you guys have had success going abroad to get this work done and it saved you a ton of money, comment below, because I'm not knocking anybody at all. I'm just saying I'd want to be cautious with my investment, because sometimes spending less is not the best option. You know what I mean? There could potentially be more problems than good that you get from it. So that is this week's Q&A, and it's a little, unorganized, but hopefully as I continue doing these videos, I'll get a little bit more structured, a little better at it. And get to answer all of you guys' questions and maybe be a good resource for people who are just stumbling upon my channel. Make sure you subscribe, and you can follow me on Instagram, Callan Jax on Instagram, and I will see you guys next week, and y'all take care.